Welcome to Lesson 4 in Unit 12, Exploring Earth. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, where did these explorers go? In this lesson, students use maps to investigate where early explorer groups ventured. They make comparisons between different bodies of water the early explorers used for traveling. Students figure out that the early explorer groups traveled on water. Water on Earth is found in the ocean, rivers, lakes, and ponds. Water exists as solid ice and in liquid form. They make connections to the storyline by continuing to research the early explorer groups and where they traveled. There are several opportunities for ELA and social studies cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 12 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. For the Engage portion of the lesson, you'll begin by asking students what they think exploring was like before there were maps. You'll then read the book Camilla Cartographer. Use the Read Aloud guide to read and discuss the book with students. During your discussion, you can post and talk about the cartographer and expedition vocabulary cards. You'll revisit the driving question board and add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to questions about where the explorers went or what new areas they encountered. For the Explore portion, you'll set up the Water Explorers activity. You'll put students into 6 groups and give each group a small globe to locate the types of water and add more to the class list. You'll ask students to go on a scavenger hunt for bodies of water and then compare the bodies of water they find. You'll have students use their Bodies of Water Scavenger Hunt journal page to record the names, examples, and descriptions of water types. They can use the chart to draw or write notes about each type of water. You can post the Bodies of Water vocabulary card. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion. You'll invite them to gather and analyze their observations around the Water Explorers activity. You'll use the provided questions to guide the discussion around where did these explorers go? The goal of this discussion is to identify and describe different bodies of water on Earth and make the connection between the early explorer regions and the bodies of water they used. You will use the discussion to create the Lesson 4 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that the early explorers all lived near oceans. Each early explorer group made their expeditions over water. To facilitate the discussion, you'll read Water Sources. Use the Read Aloud guide to read and discuss the book with students. During the discussion, you can post and discuss the lake, pond, river, ocean, sea, ice, and glacier vocabulary cards. For the Elaborate portion, you'll display the early explorer maps from the Explorer cards. You'll have students work in groups to make observations about where each group explored. You'll use student answers to questions to complete your summary chart discussion. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students work individually or in pairs and return to their early explorer regions student journal page from Section 1. They can use colored pencils to use arrows or color in the different expedition areas for each explorer group. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, what did we learn about where these early explorers went? And what new questions do we have? By the end of this lesson, students will have obtained information from maps to communicate where early explorer groups traveled, and made comparison between types of water found on Earth. In Lesson 5, students will investigate different exploration vessels the early explorer groups used to get around. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.